Hello, hello. All right, so let's clear a few things up. One, you are not broken. Two, you are not lacking willpower. Three, you are not just bad at this whole thing. None of that is true. What is true, though, is something that Dave Ramsey taught me a long time ago, which is the things you value, you put your resources towards. And what are your resources? Time and money. So when we went through this whole pandemic, everyone was being self-quarantined. Notice how I really told you to structure your time. Your time is your most valuable resource. Well, we want to start thinking about when things do go back to normal and you're back at work, your kids eventually go back to school. We redefine what normal is. The things that you value, if I open up your calendar or I open up your checkbook, I am going to be able to tell what is valuable to you, what is important to you based on where you spend those two resources. The reason people are not successful at any goal that they set out to do is because most often they're not chiseling out time to focus on it. They might be apprehensive about spending money on it, but they definitely are not putting time toward it. And so what does that mean? It means that if I were to just pop into your house right now and you were to show me your wall calendar, your Google calendar, your Outlook calendar, whatever it is you put your family's appointments on, would I see on there with my eyes, not you standing there telling me, well, this is when I do these things. No. Would I see with my eyes that you are budgeting time for cooking, budgeting time for your meals, budgeting time for your fitness, budgeting time for meal planning, budgeting time for you to unwind, relax every day, self-care? Would you show up on that calendar? Would the things that are going to make you healthy, well, sane, are they on the calendar? If the answer is no, and you're not honoring that for yourself, that is why the goals don't happen. It's not because you're not strong enough. It's not because you're not willpowered enough. It's because you haven't taken one of your most important resources, which is time. In my opinion, the most important. You can always make more money. You could invest in stocks. You could, you could gamble. There's a lot of ways that you could make more money. You could take a part-time job, right? But when it comes to time, you and I have 24 hours every day. Neither of us can get a raise of 30 minutes or a raise of an hour. We're given 24 hours. Boom, that's it. So if I take that 24 hours and I allocate it partly to homeschooling my kids, partly to my self-care, my fitness and my eating, partly to running my business, right? I have taken things that are super important to me and I've designated, and you know what I've had to do? I've had to say no to a lot of things. I've had to say no to people asking me for time for podcast interviews. I've had to say no to people wanting me to volunteer. I've had to say no to family members when they ask me to do certain things, because if I give them my time and I don't have it to give, I'm either going to disappoint myself or I'm going to disappoint them. But here's the problem. None of those people know what's important to me. They don't know what I value. They don't know that my health is important. They don't know that homeschooling my kids is important. They don't know that half size me is important. They have their agendas and things that they need. And so they're trying to get that stuff taken care of. Totally get it. But if I don't act as my own advocate and say no to them, then I build up resentment. Then I build up frustration. And then all of a sudden I'm gaining weight. I'm unhealthy. My homeschooling isn't happening, and then I feel like I'm not doing my job as the mom, right, and as the homeschooling parent. I'm not dedicating the time to half size me, and I feel like my business isn't succeeding like it could, and I start to beat myself up. So now I am saying yes to all these other people, but I'm saying no to me. And the problem is, once I get into that really negative place, I'm not super good at being the best helper for anyone else. So this is why your time, in my opinion, your most valuable resource. You need to chisel out time. So as we do eventually go back to that new normal we just talked about, I would want to see you say, okay, I'm going back to work. There's nothing else that exists on my calendar right now. But maybe I could start putting in chunks of time towards things that are going to help me with my health. And when other people ask for that time, I say no. I say I have to check my calendar. When you see those time spots are already blocked out for health-related things, the answer is no, because you already have another obligation. You see what I mean? So it's not that you're saying no just because you don't want to do it. You're saying no because maybe that's the time you go to yoga, or maybe that's the time you go grocery shopping, or maybe that's the time you do your meal planning, and you value those things and your well-being enough to decline other requests. That's where we want to get you, because with your time, you get things accomplished. If you don't dedicate time to it, guess what? It doesn't get accomplished. So let go of the idea of needing willpower. Let go of the idea of somehow you're not capable. That's absolutely not true. If I were to say every week, where's your time slots for these things? That's how we turn this whole thing around. That's how we start to prioritize those things into your life, because you dedicate your most valuable resource, which is time. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.